Hello, job point grinding tubers, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy V with me, BlueAnkylo. So, future tubers, new episode. There's a few things we should talk about. First off, chat, live tubers have all abandoned me because we spent too long grinding. I didn't really intend to spend a long time, but then I got testing things out, and I found a pretty efficient way to do it. So I'll show that off first, and then I'll talk a little bit about where our job levels are at, and I want to do a little bit of testing on camera for like how jobs compete, like Dragoon versus Knight versus Ninja versus Samurai, kind of see how they work at this point in the game, just to give a bit of an idea which ones make sense if you're trying to play along and maybe don't feel like grinding. But first off, the first running, we came here before, like you guys know the statues here. The first thing we tried to do down here was with blue magic, which of course you can, because these enemies are multiples of level 5, I gotta turn that off too. You can definitely use level 5 death for 22 MP, and you can just have everyone be a blue mage, and then just put it on auto battle, and for 22 MP you will always kill everything as soon as you get an action. It's pretty good. The downside is it costs MP, and the animation is kind of slow actually, it turns out. If you look at, I basically gave everyone a couple levels in Blue Mage, just so we could do that. Like, that was my first thing. I'm like, let's give everyone, like, level 3 Blue Mage, so they can cast level 5 Death. Seeing as I'm learning all the Blue Magic spells, that's easy enough. And that'll be a quick grind. It was fairly quick, but then we found something better. There's a couple other really cool tricks that work. Now, unfortunately, a Thunder Rod boosted Ramu. These guys are weak to lightning, but they've got 3,300 hit points. This is not enough damage. I'll just defend here to show this off. Ramu, I think 2 casts of Ramu should kill them, ish. Yeah, 1,800. Yeah, 2 casts should pretty reliably kill them. So that's 10 MP, but the animation is like as slow as the level 5 death, and you're not killing them in a single action. So, I would say that's worse than death, probably. Probably. It's debatable. So then, at some point, I'm like, well, the lightning scrolls are really fast. The animation for these are way quicker. It's much faster than Ramu or level 5 death. And they're weak to lightning. Well, did you see how much damage that just did? So, what we learned was the lightning scrolls are all scaling off of your magic stat. So a ranger with some magic gets around that much. And sadly, or perhaps for the benefit of everything, the Thunder Rod does not apply. So the boosted lightning elemental damage doesn't actually affect it or anything. But all you want is max magic, and you're doing almost 2,900 damage. Now, I tried to find a way to boost our magic damage high enough to one-shot them, because we're very close. 2,900, they only have 3,300 hit points, so if we could get a little bit more magic, I think we could one-shot them with throw lightning scrolls. But I couldn't find a way, and we've already got +1, +2, +3, or +3. That's as much as you can get at this point in the game, I think. Well, there might be some other tricks, I don't know, but as far as I can see, anyway, that's as much magic as you can get. Summoners have the highest base magic. We tested out Black Mage and stuff to see who would have the most. So, we couldn't quite one-shot them, but as long as you're doing over 2,000 damage, then 2 lightning scrolls will guaranteed win this fight. So what I've been doing, and this is what I ended up spending, way too long on, is you'd have half the team defend, and half the team throwing lightning scrolls, and then just put it on auto battle, and that's it. And if you've got continuous auto battle, which is a setting in the main menu, you don't even have to turn it on. You just start the battle, you're already auto battling, bam, almost 3,000, bam, 1,500 dead. So, you can see that this makes the job point grind pretty quick. You don't get a lot of experience, so we haven't got a lot of level ups, but you do get a lot of gold, and we have a lot of gold. So, anyway, that's sort of what happened, and I would highly recommend throwing lightning scrolls. I don't remember if they were this good in the Super Nintendo version, but in this Pixel Remaster, boy, do they seem to scale really well. Like, if you're throwing them on a job that's bad at magic, monks are like classically really low. 2 magic, you're going to get pretty bad damage on monks from throw. But ninjas have a lot of magic, honestly. Like, they're not as high as summoners. Wait. Oh, you know what it was? I think I know how I... See, there was a point where I suddenly started doing more damage, and I couldn't figure out why. And I'm like, boy, ninjas have a lot of good stats. Well, just hold on a second. We're doing a little bit more science. There's lots of science for today's episode. Ninja with 15 magic, designed to throw ninja scrolls for that much damage. That's how they're balanced, I think. Yes, this all makes sense now. And I probably have learned this in the past. If instead you put on... This is what I had blue magic, because I was doing all of my death level 5. We don't actually have any white, black, red, and I usually don't mix and match my fighters and mages that much. Hey there, Tayu. But for some reason today I was mixing and matching. So if you put on any or any spell casting ability, let's say, not only do you get magic points, you get the stat. You get the magic stat. I wonder if it's based on the job it's from. Like, Blue Mage gives you 48. I wonder if Summoner would give you more. Anyway, first off, you saw what the ninja could do with 15. That was like, what was it, 1,400 damage or something? So just equipping Blue Magic, he went from like 1,500 to like 2,200 damage. Pretty big jump. And I betcha if you have someone who's actually got a Summoner job, which is probably more powerful... Let's just do a little bit of science here. Oops, I skipped right out. So, Ninja with 18 magic, and then switch over to Summoning, which is the strongest. And it's up to 61. Bam. So, that's the trick. I didn't realize that equipping... So, there's some min-maxing you could do. By having your secondary ability, a Mage, picking Summoner or Black Mage is going to boost up your magic stat even higher. Go ninja, go. Go ninja, go ninja. Yeah. We can't quite become... We're probably teenagers. There's no turtles in this edition. But, I don't know. Maybe we're mutated a little bit. But we're working on it. Alright, so yeah. There you go. It's, a bit min-maxy. And if you happen to have gear, like you can equip Elven Mantle, Mage Masher... I don't have any hats. Wonder if we can equip it. Wow. So I can actually get more magic on the ninja than I could on the summoner because they can equip different stuff. That's kind of funny. Point is, anyway, I'm not going to do this for much longer. But I just wanted to demonstrate that, oops. Thanks, Lena. When you, whenever you change job, it loses their auto battle settings, so that's fine. But anyway, point is, 2,900 damage, that's real good. And ninja scrolls are cheap, like 250 gold per throw. I can't find a way to one-shot these enemies, but we're close. And ninjas are also really fast. Anyway, enough, that's the strat. Just get at least 2 people with throw, get some magic on them so they boost up their damage, and whew, that's some good stuff. That's a spicy meatball. Okay, so, that said, I want to do a little bit of testing. I want to show off which are the better fighters at the moment. Obviously, there's a lot of abilities that you can mix and match to make all kinds of different combos. For now, I want to demonstrate weapon power, like just straight up weapon damage. I'm going to leave this place too. We're going to get out of the... This is kind of a higher level area, like the enemies... theoretically might have more defense than a regular enemy. We're just going to go outside for a minute. You're going to have Butts show off Knight, Dragoon, Samurai, just the basics. And you guys can just get a feeling for how much damage he can do in the different roles. And I think it's going to prove that Knight is the best. But we'll see. Oh, he's in the back row too. Oops. I got to turn off auto battle. Well, this is really helping. Okay, look, get out of here, you stupid frogs. They just open by... This is classic BlueAnkylo. Let's test something out. Nope. Chemist Bard. Oh, I haven't really leveled Chemist yet. We'll talk about Chemist later, not this time. Chemist we'll save for another day. Chemist is just too complicated for a simple discussion. Okay, config, continuous auto battle off. Fast is very fast. Okay. Okay, frogs, just chill dudes. I need to show off two-handed knight swords. How they do. How you doing? Alright, let's do it. So, almost 1,500 damage. Pretty good. 1,600 damage, even better. They basically never miss, very rarely miss. They don't get a lot of crits. They just reliably do around 1,500 damage. And I've used this a fair bit. I would say that is A tier for physical damage right now. And it's very simple. That's just knight with a knight ability. Nothing. You don't need to spend any time grinding to get this. This is like the easiest thing you can do, basically. And that's very strong. Really, really strong. Next. Dragoon. So, Dragoon uses spears and, in theory, jump. So they could go in the back row and use jump. It'll just go a little bit slower. I think the idea is it takes 2 turns-ish to do double damage. And it's double damage with a spear. Now, I haven't technically tested this yet, but spears should work two-handed, and you're in the air anyway, so you're not going to get hit. You might as well, right? So you need a couple levels in Knight for this to turn out, but you don't get Dragoon until later in the game anyway, so probably your Knight has learned two-handed at this point, if this was a good combo. Actually, you cannot... Never mind, I was wrong. You cannot two-hand spears. See, spears are going to have a really hard time. I got a bad feeling about Dragoon. I got a real bad feeling. I mean, sure, they get more defense because they got a shield, but the Knight could use the shield if you wanted. That's rough. I thought you could two-hand them for sure, but only swords, katanas, and axes, according to this tooltip. Okay, so what else could we give Dragoon to make it competitive? Berserk won't even work because you need to select the jump commands. This just gives them some more evasion from Samurai. If you're using the jump command, you can't select any of these anyway. Alright, well, Dragoon I already know is going to suck, but I will test it out. This used to be called Lancet or something. I'll show that off because that's a unique Dragoon ability. Otherwise, they're basically wearing the same stuff as a Knight, heavy armor, and I guess technically they can be in the back row, but that's it. Yeah, we'll test the monk out too. Don't worry. We'll definitely go through a thorough mid-game job review here. Okay, so we'll start with jumping, and we'll just go on auto battle to see how long it takes. So on the... It is this... I mean, I don't know all the science. I just have an expectation. So, jumping, you get maybe 1 attack per 2 rounds. This is less than the regular attack on the Knight. The Knight was doing 1,500. So, it's hard to be super impressed by that. On the plus side, the Dragoon is off-screen, not tanking for the rest of the group. So, I would say that is, like, way worse. Like, not even close. Like, unfortunately, at this point in the game, you get the Dragoon at this, like, late... the Dragoon is one of the last jobs you get, I think, right? That just sucks. Like, that is bad. So, like, okay, if jumping is slow and does less damage, let's see what his regular attack is from the front row. Spears are not back row weapons unless you jump. And I'll try Lancet out. But honestly, I think Dragoon needs to be benched permanently at this point. So, regular attack. Yeah, I mean, 576. That's not even half as much damage as the Knight. And I think basically jump was doing double damage, but that's the same DPS. If you get 2 attacks at 500 or 1 attack at 1,000 every 2 turns, it's the same thing. Except you're in the air, so you don't get hit, which is actually bad, because then everyone else, the mages, are getting smacked, while the guy with the armor is away, not taking damage. Like, you want the Dragoon to get hit, because he's got more armor. That's just really bad design. If he got, like, double jump at max rank, or multi-jump or something, if he could two-hand his spears, that would significantly improve the situation. He'd be more of a damage dealer than a tank. Oh, I didn't use Lancet yet. I'll show you Lancet. Yeah, I don't think he even has any passives. I think all he's got are Lance, Jump, and Lancet. And Equip Lance. Let's see. So that did... Oh, man, that's really bad. That's really weak, too. So Lancet is a drain attack. It might scale on your magic, so we can test that out, too. Could you dual-wield spears? Maybe. I don't have that ability yet. We can try that. That's a late-game ability. Like, dual-wield takes some serious investment to learn that. But, you should be able to dual-wield spears. I'm not sure how jumping would work, but maybe. Okay, so Lancet is doing 220, and you steal 20 MP. Not enough. Let's finish this fight up, and then... and then we'll try one more thing. Dual wielding would be better, for sure. But you need 2 good spears, and there's generally 1 best weapon in the game, and not 2 best weapons. So, like, if you get the Holy Lance or the Gugni or whatever they call it, you only get 1. So you're gonna have max weapon in one hand and then second best weapon in the other hand, which is probably not as good as two-handing the best weapon, if that makes sense. Anyway, so far I'm running out of things to make Dragoon good. But we're going to try giving... Oh, I can't. I was like, let's give him some magic stat by equipping a magic ability, and that'll make Lancet better. Well, of course you can't do that, because you can't have both equipped at the same time. So basically, for now, trash tier. He's got the same armor, same equipment as a knight, except spears instead of swords, and spears are weaker. Like, one thing to keep in mind is our basic spear strength is 44 attack. Our basic... We got daggers with 51, but our basic sword is more than that. Let's see. We've got 57 sword, 43 sword... There's a sleep sword for sale. I think the great sword was a rare, we found it, so this might be like 1 tier up, which is making the knight a little bit stronger. I give you that. But like samurais are at 44. We'll talk about berserkers in a minute. But yeah, I would say the swords are at least in the mid 40s to high 40s already, and he's at, well, 44. I guess it's about the same. Never mind. We've got a better sword because of rare drop. Random. Not random, just treasure, basically. Anyway, okay. Enough on the Dragoon. I think Knight beats Dragoon 100%. There's no competition. Next up is Ninja. Now, Ninja dual wields, so you can't use two-handed yet. So what would be the most useful backup? You could go Spellblade. Now, we could have gone Spellblade on the Dragoon, I guess. But anybody can use Spellblade, so... Spellblade is a special on its own thing. It's really good against bosses that are weak to an element, but in regular combat, you sort of spend a turn to get the effect, so it's generally not as good normal. Katanas are samurai katanas. So, I actually don't know what is good as a backup on a ninja for abilities right now. Honestly, the way throw works, you might be better off just going blue magic to boost the power of throw. Basically, what that means is you got 2 attacks at decent damage. I don't think strength actually helps the ninja at all. I think they need evasion gear, or agility gears, technically. But we'll test it out. But yeah, because we tested out, like, we know that equipping blue magic, or any magic ability, gives him a higher throw damage. That might be the strat for ninja, actually, is to give them... Because they always have throw equipped, and just making it better, actually very strong. So we'll do the regular attack first. So we're looking 2 hits around 650 approximately. So that's what, 1300 damage? Depends on the enemy and how much defense they've got. Sadly, dual wielding also is penalized by enemy defense a little bit more, because you get 2 attacks that are reduced by enemy defense, whereas two-handing a weapon just does a lot of damage. You only have to sort of cut through the defense once, sort of thing. I mean, if that makes sense. So in theory, it's a bit harder to keep up dual wielding than two-handing. But I would say this is definitely better than Dragoon, and this is just his base attack. Like, I didn't even equip an ability to help with that, so that's good. And then the ninja definitely has the edge on utility, which we'll do in a next fight here. So ninja looking good, no doubt about it. Let's show off against some regular enemies how this works. I mean, that's pretty dang good. If you're weak to fire, lightning, or water, he will wipe the enemy group. Especially with that magic boost. Now, if I didn't have blue magic equipped, it would be worse, but this is perhaps my new favorite combo, actually, is getting a way to boost magic on throw, and then just killing everything with scrolls. Scrolls are cheap. I mean, it didn't quite kill everything that time, but, you know, that's still pretty good. So, in basic damage so far, I say Knight wins just in simple. Knight also has the support, like, it doesn't happen very often, but technically the Knight covers near-death allies and takes a hit for them. So he does have, like, a niche use in difficult fights. It almost never happens, but he could save someone from a death blow, like the White Mage. The Ninja doesn't get that, but Throw Command is so strong, especially when you power it up with magic, some sort of magic boost, which is really easy to do. Ninjas, I'm ranking A+. So Knights were an A, Dragoons are like a C or a D. Ninjas might be a little bit more useful than Knights because they do almost the same damage plus this utility. Ninja's overpowered, as always. I'm not even going to show off the blue magic. You could equip anything. White magic, black magic, red magic, maybe, blue or time. They would all boost his throw, which is good enough. I would say, because throw does all the damage, if you really want max utility, you might give him time magic or white magic, so that he's got throw for damage dealing, and then he's got some supportive spells as well. That's crazy. That's just everything you could possibly want on one character. Yeah, good. That's my new favorite build as of this run. That's real good. So, I'll do Monk next, but I'll have to use Gala for that. So, Monk. For Monks, let's see. You can't two-hand a fist, sadly. You can't double fist it. They already get 2 punches naturally. He already gets counter passively, so monks do sometimes get some bonus DPS from counter. A little bit of evasion, doesn't matter. Cover, like other abilities. I'm trying to think of what would be useful on a monk. I think I use focus sometimes, which is a low. So monks do get a couple unique abilities that you can put on anyone that takes monk levels. I mean, like I said, there's lots of combos going cross-class, but I'm trying to stick to like the class on his own or other low job levels that would, make him good. Late game, you have access to dual wield and X fight and stuff, but mid game you don't. I'll try chakra and focus, and I think that's all we've got for monk abilities right now. And I don't think a lot of passives make any difference. Like, sure, someone could have first strike, that would help, but it's not going to let him kill stuff faster. You could stack his HP a bit higher if you wanted. But unless I'm really confused, oh, hold on, we can... Let's give him the best chance here by giving him the actual... I specifically bought the monk equipment to make sure that this... Because both of those increase your strength. I don't think I have anything accessory-wise that increases your strength, but technically the ninja should have gone like this, and he probably would have done a tiny bit more damage with his katana, because I think they're agility-based, and +2 agility, right? I think. Oh, there is a power armlet. Okay, there you go. So this is our maximum monk. He's got 0 magic defense. Oh, I love monks. 0 magic defense. He's got a couple downsides. He's got a couple weaknesses himself. Also, no HP. Hold on. For science. So let's see how the monk competes against the ninja and the knight. The Dragoon's already out of the running, but... Knight was 1500. Ninja was 650 times 2. And then a whole bunch of crazy abilities. Alright. So less damage than a dual-wielding ninja, sadly. But we get those counterattacks, right? Though that adds a little bit of DPS sometimes. You could put cover on him, and he would take a blow for nearly dead people and then counter. I've tried stuff like that before. It generally doesn't work. You could try to keep the rest of the team in critical HP, give the monk cover and counter. I used to do that in Final Fantasy VI, because you just needed 2 relics to do that. Anyone could equip the 2 relics. It doesn't work out most of the time. So I feel like he's doing a bit less damage than... I'm going to do one more fight here, because I was just rambling again. But I feel like he's doing a little bit less damage than the ninja with the base weapons at this level, which is unfortunate, which means... Basically, it means the monk's raw damage is starting to fall behind. Not too much, but a little bit. And it's probably scaling more on your character level. So if you grinded more levels, you could probably get that 550 to 600 up to 800 or 900 per hit times 2, right? Animal summons... I'll talk about animals when we get to Ranger a little bit more. Because, you could give anybody the animals. I mean, you could just give Dragoon the summon ability from Summoner and have him summon Titan. Or Bahamut or whatever, and that would probably be better, actually. Like, that's the trouble with, like, command abilities is you have to compare them against other command abilities, like Summon. And Summon is always going to beat something like the animal thing from Ranger. Let's try out Kick. Yeah, but the squirrels. Yeah, don't worry. We'll showcase the squirrels. I will talk about squirrels in a minute. Okay, let's try some kicking. So, a benefit that monks have is free AoE. 600 damage AoE. It's okay. I mean, I think the monk is the okayest class at this mid-game. He's just completely average at everything he does. 600 damage to a group? Yeah, that's okay. Summoners are better. Ninjas are better. Black mages are probably a bit better. Summoners are definitely better. Ninjas are definitely better. And then the other casters are a little better. But it might beat Squirrel. I don't know. Like, I think Kick is about Summon Squirrel tier. Maybe a little bit better because you always hit the group. You have you get control of the command, basically. I think the way to fix Monk, not that I'm doing this, I think the way to fix Monk would be to do what they did in Final Fantasy VI, where you take this command, turn it to a Monk-only command, and put Kick, focus, chakra, whatever other monk abilities you want, all inside the one command. It's like having black magic, but instead of fire and ice, you get all of the monk abilities. That's the solution to have a good monk. Have all the monk abilities under one command. Call it a blitz if you want, or something like that, and then they're fine. But as it is, commands are almost the most valuable commodity is your equipable command. And kick is not good enough to be one of those commands. So next up, we'll do focus, which, basically, it's going to be jump. It's going to take 2 rounds to do double damage. At least both hits get doubled, and at least the monk's base damage, it doesn't even auto-battle it. Oh, that's so annoying. It doesn't even remember that you did focus if you're in auto-battle. So that's a minor critique. It's not the end of the world. Why did he do so much damage after he got turned into a frog? Wait a second. Have we unlocked the secret power of monks? Oh, this isn't unfair because back attack. Let's just run away. I never run away from battle. Maybe it's frog on frog only. How did he do so much damage as a frog? This is the science episode, guys. 30 minutes in, we're just sciencing. I gotta remember to call this episode science. Alright, frog science. Can frogs kill frogs? Is that the secret? Or was it just a glitch? That was weird. So I don't know how he did massive damage as a frog, but he did once. He did 1200 damage times 2 as a frog. What a weird... It must have been some kind of weird mechanical something. I'll try focus as a frog to see, maybe. We have had some weird monk stuff in the first stream. Frogs can't even kick. How rude is that? But if you remember the very first Final Fantasy V stream, if you go all the way back, we like episode 2 or something, I think. Oh look, focus. Okay, I think I know what it is. Let me finish. Let's pause for a second. There was a time when he counterattacked with a kick. Twice. Or something. I had a kick command queued, and then we had a counter kick, which shouldn't happen. So there's something in the Pixel Remaster coding where when the monk triggers his counterattack, instead of triggering his regular physical attack, which it's supposed to do, and what it does 99% of the time, sometimes it gets confused with what command you last selected. Focus, now we know for sure, you can use as a frog and you get full damage, which is kind of hilarious, actually. If you're a frog focusing, you get normal human-style damage. That on its own kind of seems like a bug, but whatever, that's fine. So I think what happened was our counterattack used the focus command to do massive damage. Just like once upon a time, our counter did a kick, so we ended up doing double kick. Okay, I feel like that's my hunch. It's really hard to replicate. It's difficult to know for sure if that's what's going on, but I'm pretty sure. So anyway, as far as focus is concerned, Berserk the Monk? Yes, but if you're Berserk, you'll only do the attack command, which should not... It'll still do terrible damage, because frogs normally do terrible damage. It's only the focus command as a frog that bypasses the frog reduced strength thing. But yeah, focus as an ability is terrible. And I'm going around in circles here, but 2 rounds to do double damage. It's the same as jump, except you stand there and take hits. And you don't get the focus normally on your counters while you're waiting. At least it's not like some Final Fantasies where you lose your focus if you take damage. Like, if you're charging an attack and you take damage, sometimes you lose it entirely. Those are even worse. But, no. 2 rounds to do double damage. It's just the same as attacking twice. Except slightly worse because you could kill the enemy on the normal attack rather than waiting 2 rounds, taking all that damage, and then killing them. Killing things now is better than maybe killing them later, or over-killing them later. So anyway, I spent more time on Monk than I thought I would. My rating for Monk is still okay. I guess there's one more thing I didn't show. So, focus, I would say, is bad. The only time this is good is on a boss that does counters. Every time you hit him, he does a powerful counter ability. In those situations, which don't happen too often in Final Fantasy V, but they did happen quite often in Final Fantasy IV, Kain jumping or Yang, whatever they call him, doing the focus charge thing. Those made a lot more sense when the bosses were going to counter wipe your group, so you want to limit the damage. But other than those niche situations, I would say these abilities are pretty bad. But let's show off Chakra, because trying to be demonstratable. And then we'll pick another job after this. Focus and jump would not stack, no. Because you don't select... Oh, sheesh. I wonder if that can... Can that remove frog? No. Oh, it's so bad. So... Chakra is not very good. Self-heal for, like, 10%. And that's trash. Completely trash. Why would you ever equip an ability that is basically worse than using a potion? It's definitely worse than using a potion. Okay. Yeah, Monk, I'd say better than Dragoon. If Dragoon was D tier, Monk is C tier. C or C+. It's just average. Monk is your class average. He's okay. His regular attack is decent. Not as good as the Knight, not as good as the Ninja, but it's fine. It's better than most people. He gets counters, which is fine. Doesn't get armor or anything. Gets no magic defense. But his abilities suck. Like, that's the main drawback. His kick is okay, and then stuff like Focus and Chakra stuck. And he doesn't really have any good combos for passives, at least not in the mid game. Probably not in the late game either. C's get degrees. Yeah, I mean, he needs that black belt upgrade. In Final Fantasy 3, regular monks eventually turned into black belts, and then they were awesome. In Final Fantasy 1, they had a promotion. He needs a promotion. That's what he he needs to move on in life, or basically his punching needs to scale higher based on your job level or something. Anyway, point is, okay. Not great, just okay. Who's next? I didn't show off Thief. Thief is not really a DPS. I'll show him, but this is not a DPS kind of. This is not the same as this is like a utility class, right? But we'll give him we've got Mug now. Might as well show that off. It's not even good on Thief because now you've got Steel and Mug. This is better on somebody else that's not a Thief. But whatever. So you get Thief Gloves to increase your stealing. You get Main Gauche to get more... Well, we can probably do better than that. What do we have for equipment? Yeah, these things. Give them up. And give that up. All the mages have all my knives, so this is the full set of options. You could use these boomerangs to go from the back row, which are okay. The Mage Masher does cast Silence. That's not terrible. Orichalcum, whatever. And Dancing. Dancing is complicated, so save that one for last. Let's go with Orichalcum, because that's our strongest regular dagger right now. He does not get dual wield naturally. Also, we should probably give him the agility stuff. I'm pretty sure daggers don't do damage based on your strength. They're agility-based weapons. The formulas are weird, but swords and axes work on your strength. Daggers and bows work on your agility. I'm like... I'll say, like, I'll say I'm 90% confident. I might need to phone a friend or use my 50-50, but I'm pretty confident. I think I sort of half answered it. I got so much going on in my head with all the sciencing, but one of the questions in chat was, could a Dragoon learn focus? You would have the jump and the focus command. When you selected focus, you would lose a turn and then do double damage. You would not be able to use your focus and then have it boost the jump, because I don't select attack after focus. In Final Fantasy IV mechanics, maybe, because you had to select charge, or whatever they called it, and then select attack after that. In this game, it's just you lose a turn and then attack automatically. Same as jump, where you jump, lose a turn, and attack automatically. So you can't focus and then choose to jump, which would be pretty cool if you could do quad damage. Then you do 4 times damage after 3 turns, then you'd be getting at least some progress. Rather than, 1 attack per round's worth of damage, you might be getting a little bit extra. But, anyway. Sadly, that's not an option. Okay, Thief. First up, attacking. Not very good. 330 damage. Not great. But, I mean, I did say he's not a real damage dealer, so that's fine. But now, he can deal a little bit of damage, and also steal stuff. There are a few things worth stealing in this game. I'm generally not going to worry about it. I haven't really done a good job of stealing anything yet. You can check the bestiary if you're interested. If you have the Thief glove equipped, you've got a pretty good chance of stealing, actually. It's not even that hard, for the most part. The next time we fight our buddy Gilgamesh, I'll try to steal from him, because I know he's got some good armor. But unless you already know, I wouldn't bring the Thief unless I knew for sure that there was something worth stealing, is basically what I would say. Only bring the Thief if you know there's something worth steal. Otherwise, just bench him. Like, there's nothing combat useful here. Steal, you can escape from combat, but you might as well just give that to anybody. And ninjas also get it, so it doesn't really matter. Is there anything else thieves get? Okay, this is kind of useful. I will accept that never getting back attacked is a nice ability. Is it worth bringing a Thief? Is it worth equipping on someone? Maybe. Maybe. If they don't need anything else, sure. But generally, nah. Find passages is nice if you don't know where all the secrets are. And then moving faster. Back in Super Nintendo days, this helped a lot. Nowadays, we get this for free, and this just makes you go double speed, or quadruple speed, or triple speed, or whatever it is. So Thief, I'm not really going to compare him to the other ones, right? It's not the same. He's a support character. A rank, C rank, not applicable. D rank, A plus. Next up, Samurai. And we've only got 3-4 left. We're just going to do one entire episode on this. It's fine. Alright, Samurai. Now, I'm gonna say, just like with Dragoon, which I thought could use two-handed, I would say that this is a good time to look at something like two-handed from Knight. Ninjas are probably fine on their own. What? Why is everyone equipping that stupid... Oh, I didn't... Okay. I was going to cover the Dancing Dagger, and I'll do that now, because I meant to do it for the Thief. So the Dancing Dagger is special. It's really like... We'll see this in a minute. It gives you the dance ability on a not dancer. Sometimes. This is a complicated weapon, though. It does have higher base attack than the Orichalcum, so I should... Last time we did 330, right? Let's just continue this Thief test. I missed this one. Special equipment. So, it's a bit stronger. How much stronger? A little. Don't worry about the Samurai. We'll test him out officially in a second here. Wow, we're not killing anything. If it takes 3 hits to kill an enemy, you know your class is kind of bad. 1 hit is high quality, 2 hits is acceptable, 3 hits is 4 hits even. It's trash tier. Do you have, like, blue magic yet? Dang it! The thief is so bad he died before I could even finish testing him. Don't worry, Ferris with the blue magic, gotcha. All the enemies getting critical is kind of annoying. I will talk about Samurai soon. There you go, Mystery Waltz. Okay, finally got one. That's 48 MP steel. So basically, if I remember correctly, something like 50% of the time when you attack with the dancing dagger, you get the dance. And the dance has 4 possible abilities. And the chance of which of the 4 dances you get depends on your equipment. Which, there's another thing we can do here, I think. If you don't want to have the random thing, I think you can't just use it. I'm pretty sure I feel like in the Super Nintendo one, you can use it as an item to get the dance for sure. I might be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure you could just use it. And it would do the dance automatically, rather than wondering whether or not it triggered on a random attack. And there's your tempting tango. So that charmed it. That's one of the better ones, if it works. Anyway, there's the HP steal, the tango that charms them. There's a really powerful attack, that one. That's great. That's 4 times damage. If you could always get sword dance, suddenly we'd be talking. But that's a very... You can never get it to 100%, and you can get it to like 75%, but it's a lot of gear. So basically, the dancing dagger is complicated and confusing, and I wouldn't mess with it unless you know what you're doing. Basically, that's your summary on dancing dagger. It is interesting, and it's got some very interesting tricks you can do with it. Sword dance is very strong. One day you can X-fight, and I think everyone has a chance of doing a dance, so you could get 4 sword dances out of 4 X-fights, but that's way later game. Like, we're not ready for that yet. Like, that's something to think about later. Let's just talk about samurai. It's samurai time. Thank you, Thief. You've been fun. So, this is our katana. You could go basically knight armor once again. So this guy certainly comparable to the knight in terms of basic setup. Heavy armor, sword, shield. The katanas are generally a little bit less damage than the swords. A little bit, not much, but a little bit. And fortunately, you can, and I will, start with two-handed, which is a knight ability, but again, you probably got knight level 3 on somebody. So now we've got max base attack on the samurai, and yeah, we'll see how it looks. This is how I would compare it to the knight with two-handed anyway. I wouldn't use a shield. You don't need shields. Shields are for chumps. Alright, let's see how this looks. 1200 damage. So the knight was hitting for 1500. The ninja was hitting for... Oh, come on, every time. The ninja was doing 650 times 2, I think. And the monk was doing like 500 or 5... or like, if the ninja was doing 650 times 2, the monk was just doing a little bit less. Oh, and that... Okay, this is... It's kind of a weapon issue. I don't know how often this happens, and I kind of wanted to test it out, but Wind Slash does the AoE wind attack sometimes. I didn't even remember... I don't even know in the base game, Super Nintendo version, if I ever used it. I feel like this is kind of new to me, so I don't remember seeing that. His base physical is good, though. 1200 damage is ninja tier. Not quite knight tier, but ninja, maybe monk-ish, slightly better than monk. Similar. And it looks like he normally uses that attack, so that's pretty good. Wind Slash, because it's based on the weapon and RNG, you know, he won't have it forever. We'll have a different weapon soon enough. I don't know how much damage it does in general. It might be on crits, actually. Actually, I kind of think that's how it works. Because one of the benefits of samurai and katanas is they have a much higher critical rate than a base sword. Swords don't get crits very often. Katanas get, I don't know, feel like 1 in 8 or 1 in 10 kind of thing. Maybe something like that. 10, 20% maybe even. I just want to see one of those wind attacks again here. He's not quite one-shotting the jerks. Oh, and then we entangled, man. Do we have a way to get rid of that? Well, not like that. I mean, white mage is Suna, but... Dang, just getting wrecked here. The ninja's still A+, clearly. Don't worry about it. Whenever you've got a problem, just use your ninja abilities. Anyway, I guess to bring it... I mean, we'll spend a lot of time doing this. Let's just say, samurai, basic ability... If I had a non-wind/weapon, I think it would do a little bit less damage than the knight, but it would crit more often, so sometimes it would do double damage, and then it would beat out the knight. I think, like, DPS-wise, it's going to be a little bit less on average, but it'll spike a bit higher with a good crit. So that's fine. Armor, defense is about the same. So then it comes down to, like, abilities. So the knight gets the cover... I'm pretty sure samurai get this thing for free. This is kind of like the elven cloak or having a high block shield. So you can have a shield plus this, and you would dodge a lot of attacks. Or you could just not have a shield and still dodge a good number of attacks. So they're actually maybe a little bit more defensive. Like they take less physical hits than a knight, I think. Actually, it's pretty safe. What else do we get? I'll show off Zenigage in a second here, and then Minucci we have to show off. For... yeah. That's like a level 1... It's not that good, but yeah. Level 1, level 2 samurai. Okay. Alright, I got rid of his... The trouble is, to equip these extra abilities, you lose your two-hand ability, which cuts your damage down to bad. We gotta thin the herd here a little bit. Too many nonsense enemies. I forgot to equip her with a weapon. Okay, let's just throw Zenigage here. I should have looked at my money. Whew. Whew. So... yeah, I had a feeling this was gonna happen. Okay, someone just remember how much money we have. Almost 164,000 gold. And then add in what we get from winning the battle. Okay, 164,000 plus almost 1,000. We're a little bit under 165,000 gold. We should have. We spent a little under 5,000 gold. So you definitely lose money significantly by using that in combat. But dang, does it do a lot of damage. So how does that compare against the ninja throw command? Well, the throw costs 250 gold. This costs a lot more, but it does do like double at least the damage. So it's a punchier, expensive version. This is the luxury throw. When you've got, stacks of gold, you just kill every group in a single attack. And it's pretty good. Alright. Next ability, I guess I should throw off his stun a little bit. Dragoon with shield and the samurai ability sounds good. So that seems like that's just a normal attack, right? It's a normal attack with a chance to stun. That's not good. So regular attack, 611. Are you friggin' kidding me, dudes? I'm actually out of my, Maybe it ignores. No, it doesn't ignore. Freaking toads, man. Ruining my day. I gotta go buy some kisses. But anyway, I'm pretty sure Minucci is just the same damage as normal. So it's kind of like Steel and Mug, basically. Like, it's fine. It's probably an upgrade to attack, but you have to equip it. If you didn't have to equip it, if it was just an auto upgrade, then it'd be fine. But you can't change your attack command for Minucci. So basically, it's a terrible ability, and I don't know what the chance of the stun is, but it's probably not high enough. So again, to make it better, samurais would just need to have their basic attack upgraded to have a chance to stun, and that'd be fine. But yeah, so Dragoon, shield, back row, and the dodge attack. So the secret here, and I mean, this is not really a spoiler, but this only really applies late game. As far as mid game balancing, this does not apply. But for late game or end game balancing, you can switch to Freelancer. A Freelancer gets to equip 2 abilities. So they do not get an automatic ability. They get Fight and Item, and then you get to pick 2. Usually every job has at least 1 free ability, like ninjas get Throw and monks get Kick, for instance. So you get to pick specifically which ones you want, which gives you a lot of options, right? You can mix and match to your heart's content. And you could even pick a couple passives. But secretly, and it's a secret, they passively get all the passive abilities of any job this character has mastered, which I haven't done. So, for instance, Ferris has mastered the Blue Mage. The Blue Mage gives her, let's see, this does work for something at least. We're looking for learning. So basically, if Ferris switches to Freelancer right now, because she's mastered Blue Mage, she doesn't need to equip Learn. If she gets hit by a learnable spell, she will learn it no matter what, as if she was a Blue Mage. So if you master all the jobs, you get all of their passive abilities, which is way too much work. But it does mean that with a little bit of selection, if you really want that Samurai dodge, master Samurai, and then at the end game, you'll get it on your Freelancer. Similarly, you'll get two-handed and auto cover. You could get counter attack. You could get no back attacks, I think. They doesn't give you anything. You can get dual wield and more preemptive strikes. You can get all those passive abilities if you master them, and then you can still equip throw or throw money or kick or whatever you want. But at the moment, in terms of our current balance discussion, that's beyond the scope. So I'm not really thinking of those right now. While I'm testing our majority of the game, sort of mid to late game, who's worth leveling right now. We're not, we don't have the job points to master everything. So as far as Samurai is concerned, basic attack and armor slightly worse than Knight, not significantly. A Knight was an A already. So I would start with like A- or B+ for slightly weaker heavy armor fighter. Bit higher crits, bit higher evade. Probably same. If a Knight was an A, Samurai is another A with still probably the same basic damage out. The Zenigage ability that they get automatically probably puts them up into ninja territory at A+. The other stuff is not that good. Like Minucci, whatever. But free Shirodori is fine. Yeah, I'd say A+. Maybe we should be a little bit more... I think Ninja is still better. How about Ninja S tier? We'll go straight to S tier for Ninja. A+ for Samurai. A for Knight. They're all very close. And then Monk is like a C. It's just average. A Dragoon is like a D. Is that everybody so far? It's very important I have my tier list. Yeah, we're not really counting Thief. Dragoon is at the bottom at the moment. Monk is a little bit better, yeah. Yeah, A, C, D, S tier, A+ tier. Both very similar. Awesome. Yeah, well, the point is, at the end of the game, if you do spend the time to master jobs, everybody is super overpowered with whatever the best combo abilities you can figure out is. Like, you're probably not going to master everything, so you want to pick and choose what you want to master. That's why, like, if you really want the block ability or whatever it is, you want to master Samurai. If you really want two-handed or dual wielding, you want to master Ninja. It depends on what you're going for. But yeah, I mean, in theory, you can just master it all. But that's, yeah, again, beyond the scope of even the late to end game. That's a lot of grinding. Mages, boy, we're an hour into this. This is just gonna be a super long ranking episode. We'll get to mages. I'm not even done fighters yet. I'm getting there. I'm trying. Let's talk Berserker, because everyone's favorite Berserker with a dagger. One of the problems here is that hammers suck. Axes and hammers are notoriously bad. Axes miss all the time, and hammers don't do enough damage. This is a top-of-the-line hammer. I just bought this from the town where we were buying all the other stuff. The spear for Dragoon, the sword for the samurai, all the same basic tier of weapons. This is a current tier hammer. Yeah, cover is tricky, but it's not bad. It just doesn't happen very often, is all. And you can have cover counter if you master Monk, and it does work, I'm pretty sure, so... Alright, well, let's just do Berserker real quick here, because... So, you might be thinking, well, Blue, it's fine. You can two-hand hammers. You've got all the heavy equipment, like a knight or a samurai. On a Berserker, you never want to pick an ability, an action ability with an exclamation point, because they can't use commands. They just attack every turn. So you have to pick a passive, like Berserk. Well, you already have Berserk, but two-handed seems like a good option. You could take, the blocking, covering, whatever, but two-hand is the best I've got right now, definitely. And Berserk does give you auto attack, boosted damage, and two-handed is pretty good, right? More boosted damage. Let's go show it off. I just need to buy some stuff here. Hold on. I've been drinking a lot of potions rather than using magic, so I'm being really lazy with my job selection right now. I'm just focusing on the tier list. Focusing on the tier list. Okay, so one downside is, in this version we have auto battle, which auto selects your last command, which kind of obsoletes one of the Berserker's advantages in the Super Nintendo. So back on the SNES, the active time battle system, like, it's really complicated, but inputting commands had a bunch of delays and things that made it difficult. So when you didn't have auto battle, you lost a lot of sort of combat time selecting your characters, selecting attack. Having a character berserked, it worked in Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6, all the old console Final Fantasies, basically. Basically, having them berserked was always not only did they get the bonus damage from Berserk, the DPS went up a lot because they attacked so quickly when you couldn't put the commands in fast enough. Once you were haste and berserked, I mean, that's the general endgame strat for Final Fantasy 4, especially. Especially against bosses, so generally better against bosses than random groups, no problem. Anyway, with auto battle, we can already do that with any command if we want. So let's just see, how do we feel about Berserker right now, right? We're auto battle berserking. How much damage is he actually doing two-handing his hammer? If you're wondering, the animation looks like he's throwing it like a boomerang. I did test out from the back row. If you're in the back row, you get half damage. So it doesn't actually work like a boomerang. It just looks like a boomerang. Don't worry about it. He selects targets randomly, which means half damage if he selects someone in the back, or maybe even less. if he's in the front row, he's doing almost as much damage as a knight. About, I mean, that was a critical hit, I think. Axes and hammers do have a better crit rate. And I will say, at least for the hammer so far, we're not getting a lot of misses. Back when I was doing axes, they missed all the time. So, it's a bit better. What about barehanded Berserker? Oh, we could try that. Yeah, I'll try that in a second. I think Galuf can do that. I'm going to try the axe next. I think the Berserker is just really reliant on having a good axe or hammer. Because the random selecting the targets is bad. Like, that's a big penalty. Because if they select someone in the back row, they're going to do bad damage. So you really need them to be punching above average. Like, if the knight does 1500 damage, the Berserker needs to do more than that. Definitely more. I gave him the axe, so this is a bit weaker weapon. But I want to see, like, the hit rate, and I think it's just the axes miss, like, half the time. They might get more crits than a hammer, maybe, but it feels like the axes are just trash. You know, tragically bad. And we keep hitting the guy in the back. So we're basically doing thief damage. Uncontrollable thief damage with a Berserker. I mean, that was 1,000. That's not that great. You know, that's okay. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know they could Living Dead. Wow. I learned something about those guys. If they kill you, they can bring you back as a zombie. I actually didn't know that. Wow. That's never happened before. Cool. I'm kind of impressed, actually. No! I'm trying to show off how bad Berserker is. So, if Dragoons were D tier, what does that make up Berserker? Oh, look! That time he did a good hit. So, against a boss, if it's a boss that's just one enemy, like not a multi-part boss, just a single target boss, I mean, he might be okay. Maybe. But against a boss, you generally want to have the ability to, like, use an item if someone dies to Phoenix down or Maiden's Kiss them, or stop attacking if they've got counters or something. Honestly, I think it's worse than Dragoon, and it's mostly because their weapons suck. If they had a good... If they had an equivalent to my sword, right? Like, so what I'm complaining about is this hammer is 38 damage. If we had a hammer or axe that didn't miss all the time, which is another problem, but at least if we had the hammer or axe that did 57 base damage, and then you could two-hand it and berserk it, he'd be hitting for over 2,000, surely. Like, he'd be cracking 2,000 hits, maybe critical hitting for like 3,000. If that was the berserker we had, and he didn't miss all the time, then I would be like, okay, that might be good enough to make up for no control. But it never happens. The axes, maybe at the end game, we'll see. But at this point, axes and hammers are just trash. Therefore, Berserker is trash. I'm going to give him... Well, there's one more thing that is worth testing. I will give you this. We'll test one more thing. I haven't tried this in this version yet. So we will try... What if we... I mean, this seems bad. We could, Man, my team is just... all the sciencing and the rest of the team is just trash. Like, no equipment at all. There, have something. In case of emergency. Golden. Okay, it shouldn't... I don't know why it... I have a bad feeling that the barehanded isn't going to work. But we'll see. We'll try. Because it's not auto-equipping punching when it should be. So if I had a spare golden helmet, he could wear that. The power sash is less defense, but hey, more strength. Who's got the power armlet? Yeah, you don't need that. I'm just going to give him as much as I can. Oh, he can't even equip it? What a scam. So the Berserker can't even wear the power armlet like the monk could. Poor bastard. Anyway, we'll give it a try. Alright, so this is barehanded Berserker attempt. We'll see if this is competitive. The monk was doing like 550, 600 damage per punch times 2, so maybe. This could be a good trick, maybe. Of course, we check out the back row and we get a crit, so that it's hard to compete, but that did seem better than the axe. I hate this game. It's like they know who I'm testing. Every time I'm testing a character, they single them out for, you know, paralyzing them or, So 800... That's more than the knight, technically. So this is better than axes. Does it have potential? Let me think for a second. So the knight was doing about 1500. We'll do a couple more rounds. Barehanded Berserker should have the accuracy of a monk, which means they basically don't miss. 2 chances to crit, but the crits do a little bit less damage because you're splitting your attack in half. They don't get the counters. They're still targeting stupidly half the time. You're not targeting the front row, which is what you would normally do. But against a boss, it wouldn't matter. But yeah, you see a lot of the times, it's like every time we target the back row. I guess you can't say he's worse. Is he worse? Is he as good as the monk? Does he get C rank for this? Can we upgrade him from D to C for Berserk punching slightly more damage sometimes than the knight? But no other ability at all. No other utility, no kick, no spell, no item, no defend, nothing. Except slightly higher damage situationally. And I mean, you know, anybody could be comboed with haste, but it is kind of classic to do this. I'll say this makes him about equivalent to the monk. So if the monk gets a C rate, I will say Punch Berserker is also C. Against, but conditional that it mostly works against single target fights and a boss with no counter or mechanics. If the boss has mechanics, bad idea. Probably. But a single target, big tough enemy, you can haste them and just let them punch every turn. That's okay. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's not the worst idea. So that means Dragoon is the worst. No, we haven't done Ranger yet, I guess. But of the heavy armors, what'd I say? A tier, C tier, D tier, S tier, A plus. Is it? Yeah, it might be a little worse than the monk. I'm not sure. I'll round a C. You know, the monk and the Berserker, somewhere around C, C minus, maybe on a good day. Like, early game, the monk was pretty good, so maybe a C plus back then. But the monk is kind of getting worse over time, and the Berserker, he's really struggling. So C or C minus maybe, but yeah, I'll bump him up. He's better than the Dragoon. At the very least, I'll give him that. Because the Dragoon, I mean, I don't know the Dragoon's niche at all. At least the Berserker, you can forget about him on a boss fight, and he will just dish out reliable damage punching. And you can forget. But the Dragoon is, like, not even doing the reliable damage, so I don't know what you can do with him. He's, you know, discount monk. He's worse than the monk with his charge attack, right? It's like focus except worse, and he does less damage. I mean, maybe we get dual weapons. Maybe we'll get dual wielding ninja spears. We'll see. Okay. This is going to take all night. Ranger. This is fun. I love it. This is great. Ranger. So I did do a bit of experimenting with Ranger the last little bit here. I think we can officially say that, like, you should never do their regular attack. You basically need, like, the bow seems to have about as bad... You could put Berserker on the monk. You could use the power armlet at least, but I guess I could... Should we test that out? I mean, is it better? This doesn't seem like a good combo. It's funny that the monk can wear better gear than the Berserker. Definitely funny. Actually, this would be better. The monk has to be better than the Berserker, because the monk with Berserk gets counter. And probably more hit points. The Berserk with punch gets nothing. So yeah, you'd have to go C- and C, or C and C+. Because if you just flipped him, the monk would beat him. Yeah, throw items are based on magic. So Summoner, yeah, 100%. Summoner he's even doing more damage. It's because the power armlet, actually. He's got more strength. Oh, the poor Berserker. Even if you want a Berserker, you're better off just taking Berserk and put it on someone else, like the monk. This is actually pretty good. Look at the damage. That's a new record for damage dealing. I'm just shaking my head. This is ridiculous. Alright. I mean, I don't know if I ever would have tried that on my own, but Berserk on the monk, actually pretty good. Because, remember, their kick and chakra and stuff all kind of suck. I didn't have a lot of good secondary abilities on the monk. Berserk actually seems to do the job. And you would get counter for big damage, too. If it ever, sometimes you'll get hit and you'll get a counter. Huh. Crazy game. Alright, good sciencing. Right, back to the Ranger. Right, so what I was saying about the Ranger was their bows are very inaccurate. The base accuracy on these things kind of sucks. So, it's kind of like the axe on Berserker. It's not worth it. Now, the Ranger gets a way around that. A couple, actually, ways around it. For now, they have the aim, which is 100% accuracy. It never misses, which is really nice against birds. Enemies that you have a high evasion stat. This ignores that. So, your bad weapon with bad accuracy and the enemy with high evasion is countered by aim. So, this is a niche. It's not great, but it's a niche. But finding things that stack with Ranger is difficult. Once again, it's kind of like the Monk. There's not a lot of passives that help you in terms of just regular damage. Sure, you can do stuff like this, but you can't use two-handed, you can't use dual-wielding, you can't use bare-handed. Most of the passives, there's very few that I would say are going to combo. You could Berserk, I guess. But if you're Berserk, you can't aim, so again, that won't be a great combo. You can't jump or focus or anything like that. So you're stuck with, like, okay, then, animals, I mean, we'll show that off again. That's a Ranger ability. Is there any other Ranger actual abilities? Not yet. We just got equipped bows. We don't need stuff like that. So, yeah, basically, Ranger as a job, well, I got a bad feeling about him, but we'll show him off. And, the Killer Bow, I think, does sometimes insta-kill enemies. It's like a chance of insta-kill. And technically, you've got Blind, Fire, Ice, and Lightning, but they're not very strong in terms of weapons. And, to be fair, the Ranger can equip daggers if you want to do some kind of weird build. I think they can use dancing daggers. I'm pretty sure they can equip those, so I'm not going to go over Rangers with daggers. But in theory, maybe there's a way to do that. I don't know. It sounds weird. Just like it sounds weird to go Monk Berserker, but hey. So let's just see how they do. Remember, the benchmark here is the Knight doing 1,500 damage. On the plus side, the Rangers in the back row, they get long-range attacks, so they've got a little bit more survivability, right? 600 damage. Better than the... They know. They know. But less than half the damage of a good class. So clearly they're nowhere near A rank. So then the question is, can they make it to B? Or are they relegated down with monks? And on its own, this amount of damage is worse than the monk. The monk was doing 1200. Now, this never misses, so it has the advantage of evasive. It counters evasion. Some enemies have really high evasion. That's a minor perk. And you can use elemental bows. Yeah, the monk technically dual wields fists. That is true. You do have two hands. Okay, so I would say, just for a second here, I would say the ranger's basic aim attack, which is replacement for fight, because now we never miss, that's not good. It's about the same as a Dragoon. Dragoon did about 600 damage per hit, right? With the spear? The only difference is we're in the back row, taking slightly less damage. We've got a long-range attack that does about the same as the Dragoon's attack, but the Dragoon has heavy armor, so yeah, it's kind of equivalent. And that on its own, the Dragoon was in D. So I think just the bow attack, maybe because you can hit high evasion enemies, I'll give them a D+, but that's not very good. Because there's other ways to hit evasive enemies, like throwing lightning bolts at them. But let's check out the other ability. The bees! 200 to 300 damage, and poison. That's not very good. Free heal for the party? 300. Now, he's got bone mail on or some nonsense, which was a mistake. But 300 or 400 HP? It's okay. Squirrel attack. Did nothing. Bees! Not the bees! 200 damage, 100 damage. Poisoned. Free heal again. He's going to kill himself. He does have a single target damage. Okay, we're going to try this again without bone mail. It's funny that the enemy... I can't even resurrect him because of the friggin' bone mail. It's more like the dances. It's random effects. Someone asked earlier on how it worked. If I remember correctly, as you level up, you unlock new animals. So I don't know the benchmarks. It's kind of like Geomancer in Final Fantasy III. As your level goes higher, the range of abilities kind of increases, and the probability of which ones you get changes as you level up your character level, not your. Well, it was probably job level in Final Fantasy III, but in this one, it's definitely character level. I think Nightingale was better in the early game when you had low MP and no healing, no high potions. I guess I actually don't know if the damage for these guys scales off of agility. It should be agility. Let me let's see if I can tune this around here. Okay, agility boost, steal this mantle. Maybe I should give him the don't get turned into frog thing so I can finish my testing. Oh, it's not even don't get turned into frog, it's catch frogs. Anyway, boost up his agility a little bit. I don't think it's going to make much difference. Okay, let's try it out a little bit more. Let's see if his I'm interested with +2 or 3 agility if it makes a little bit of difference. There are probably some breakpoints where a certain, if you really know the math well, like getting to 32, like a multiple of 16 or something might give you a lot more damage, just out of the blue that you weren't expecting. But I'm not sure how the math really works. Anyway, doing 600 damage per attack is still approximately Dragoon tier. Maybe even a little bit more damage than the Dragoon, sadly. Although, like I said, with a little bit of micro, like, I think the frogs are weak to lightning, so you could do that. But it's switching weapons mid-fight, they're not even. That's great. Maybe it's ice or something? I don't know. But anyway, point is, that advantage is almost a disadvantage, because then I'm incentivized to mess around in my inventory every time I want to do a little bit more damage, which does help, but like that kind of micromanagement is kind of, I hate it. It's just too much fiddling around. So we'll go back to some animals. I want to see all the stuff you can summon. Unlike a Geomancer, I don't think it matters... there's your squirrel. 200 damage. I don't think it matters what terrain you're in or anything. Evasion tanking, yeah. If you go... there's a dagger with evasion, like 25% block. There's the Elven Mantle with 25% block. There's the Samurai ability with 25% block. I'm not sure if they add up, but you'll probably get... Each of those gives you a chance to dodge, plus your shield or something, right? There's definitely a way to dodge most attacks. And it does work on certain bosses that are very difficult, for sure. I don't know how the math works, but if you take all of the sort of percentage evasion type things, it definitely makes a big difference. Anyway, hopefully we've proven that the Rangers' animals are basically trash. Like, they're free, but, you know, they're free. Why do we keep getting so many of these Vartech things? Jeebus. Come on, YouTube, get your spam filters together. The Nightingale is probably the best one, and if you could, again, kind of like I usually say, if you could manually select the animal, like if you could choose Nightingale, Bee Swarm, whatever other ones, like it was just a sub-menu, that might be okay. It's still kind of weak. Like, it doesn't... Well... See, I bet you it scales off of your magic stat. So, truthfully, the animal... I'm going to test this out. We can do this easily enough. We're going to put him in Summoner and give him animals. I bet you they'll make... I mean, I have never tested... This is the first time. First time ever. That's the max magic we can get right now. 60's triple what he used to have. Let's see if Animals does anything on an actual mage. I'm just waiting for them to turn him into a frog. Alright, here we go. So, Squirrel's the worst one because it does nothing damage. We don't know how it works. Nightingale was about 400. Went up to 700. That's a pretty big boost. 700 is a lot of hit points even at our level. That's good. Falcon Punch. Okay, that was 1,000 damage. Still not as good as a regular attack on a knight. But I like Falcon Punch. Bee Swarm. 300-ish damage? Like 50% improvement. Falcon again. It seems like we're getting better abilities too. Maybe the animals scale on your magic stat. I don't... It seems weird. So, sadly, this kind of proves that the Ranger is even worse, honestly. Because the Ranger is never going to get a lot of magic. You have to equip the animal command to use it, so you can't equip a magic boosting command as well. Best case scenario, you learn animals and give it to one of your mages for the chance of a free heal. Yeah, this is not good enough. I think Ranger has to be D tier. Is he... How does he compare to the Dragoon? Do I give him a tie at D? The niche scenario, I'll give him a D+. Only because he can hit evasive enemies, and sometimes it's much easier. Like, he gets a lot of elemental bows that are kind of weak, but at least in the mid-game, like, if he hits someone who's weak to his elemental bow, he is doing like 1,000 damage, which is not bad. The Dragoon can't even do that. So I'll give him D+. For hitting evasive enemies, not missing, and sometimes doing almost okay damage. It's still not as good as a knight or a ninja, but you know, D+. That's it. Final answer. Last one. last fighter. Last melee fighter. So This is simple. This is not going to take very long at all. This one's real easy. Well, the difficulty is deciding exactly what number I give him. We're going the Knight build. Sword, double-handed, plus all the heavy armor. The Mystic Knight has slightly less HP, strength, and stuff than a normal Knight, but that's fine. So Freelancer, there's another trick that I haven't explained for Freelancers. There's so many Freelancer things for the late game, it gets very complicated. Okay, auto attack is basically Knight tier, slightly less. So just that auto attack on its own got the Knight to A rank. So Mystic Knight has to be at least A minus just with that, right? Like, I feel like that's fair. But wait, there's more. I need I just want to have white magic equipped for double checking elemental weaknesses. We must be doing well to be getting so many spams. Just a second. I think anything with a period in it just needs to get filtered by the BlueAnkylo bot. Okay, Spellblade. Now this one of the big advantages of Spellblade, magic, whatever we call it, is it scales based on your progression in the game. Level 31, 1000 HP, weak to ice. So, any black spell, basically, well, pretty much. If you're weak to one of these things, you definitely get silenced or sleeped or poisoned. You can also drain HP and heal yourself, turn enemies to stone if they're weak to it, poison enemies if they're weak to that. It covers all, basically, elements. You know, you do have to spend some MP, but it's pretty cheap. 5 MP is discount. And remember, he was doing about 1300 damage before, right? Booyah! So, Samurai got to A+ for the 4000 damage coin attack. That's got to be A+ at least. Not every enemy is weak to an element, but most are. Not every boss is weak to an element, but most are. But the thing is, it gets better once you get to the Aga tier. So if we had Blizzaga, it would be like 9999 damage. It just 100% you're dead, max damage every time, basically. So I feel like Mystic Knight has to be at least A+, maybe even S. It's a little bit different niche than Ninja, because Ninja gets the AoE throw, but also gets the advantage of magic with it, which is pretty dang good, because you need to combo that. But yeah, I'd say Ninja's a little bit more utility, because he gets that throw and more options. He's got more situation use, and Mystic Knight does take one turn to charge up. You know, you have to get that. You have to spend your first turn, and then after that, you're just in kill mode. But against certain bosses, this is just the best way to kill them for a long time. I'll stick with A+. I'll say Ninja gets the S tier for now, but this is definitely A+. It's better than Knight for sure. So, I think I'm happy with that. They do get a passive. They get auto shell when they're low HP, which is fine. It's not the best ability. It doesn't really matter, but you know, free shell, less magic damage after they almost die, if it ever happens. It's very minor, but it is something. And then all their other levels go into Spellblade. So yeah, that's my physical jobs. So if you're playing along, I would say Knight, Mystic Knight, great combo. Ninja plus a magic caster, great combo. Samurai plus Knight, great combo. Maybe Monk Berserker if you like to be silly. skip Dragoon. Skip Ranger for now. Until you're willing to invest some time into it. Maybe it would have been more fair if I got another 200 job points on the Ranger and then started comparing them, because we're getting close to the point in the game where you might start hitting 400 jobs, but it is a lot of work for a class that's pretty bad otherwise, but he's got a capstone ability that's worth talking about later. If you know what it is, you know what it is, but it basically makes aim, it upgrades aim, and makes it good. Okay, I'm not going to do as intensive a review as the mages. In fact, I'm going to go through them fairly quickly, just because there's much less to talk about. First off, white magic. In fact, we don't even really need to look at it all. I can just do it all from the menu, practically speaking. White magic is very boring. Especially early game, it doesn't really keep up. It is your only way to heal, like, other than potions. It's your easiest way to heal. Blink and Shell are fine. Like, it's classic white mage. There's not even really much to talk about. As a job, it kind of sucks, but as an ability that you equip, it's great. Someone should probably always have white magic. The only time I would say not is when you've got a red mage in the early game, because a red mage can learn up to level 3 white and black for one ability, one command. So until you get up beyond level 3 white and black, you might as well just go red, basically. Simple as that. Red magic, unfortunately, doesn't scale beyond level 3, which means the red mage, as far as a job, is the worst one. It's the worst mage. But it does have a capstone again. It takes 999 job points. It's even harder to get than the Ranger capstone. But it doesn't really make the red mage good. It makes somebody else good. So I can't say that red mage is a good job. It's probably the D tier of mages. Other people want his capstone, basically. I'm not trying to play coy. The red mage capstone is X magic, which lets you cast 2 spells with 1 command. It's pretty good, but it doesn't let you cast magic you don't know. So a red mage with X magic just casts 2 level 3 spells. This sucks. So, sorry, red mage, bad. But if you give it to, like, a black mage with X magic, or whatever they call it, double cast, you can cast Flare twice, or if you have a summoner, you can summon Bahamut twice, I think. Those are good. So anyway, red mage is the worst as a job. White mage is probably the second worst as a job, but the white mage ability becomes kind of invaluable later on with raising and curing, and it does get better late game. Like, I'm not trying to, like, undersell it. Once you get to level 5 and level 6 and so on, white spells, it gets much better. You do get holy in the end game, but it's end game stuff, right? Black mage, probably kind of like B tier, give or take. It's generally good. It's always nice to have elemental high damage. Bio's good, Drain's pretty nice. You know, all of these are strong. It's basically, I would say 90% of the game, it is outshined by Summoner. So if double cast, no, you wouldn't want it on Mystic Knight anyway. Spellblade is different than magic, so no power there, sadly, as far as I know. But yeah, summons are definitely, I would say, probably for the entire game. I think summons are just better than black magic, because you do get some support, like Golem. Sylph heals you a little bit, but doesn't really count. But there's a few support summons, but you get all the elementals that are really high power. Titan's way better. We're going to get another one in a bit. Not too far away, we're going to get another upgrade to Titan, basically, that does even more damage. So they've got kind of more elements, similar but probably more elements than a black mage. They're always AoE, and they're always a bit stronger than the black mage equivalent. Although the Aga tier spells will kind of give the black mage a little bit of a bump. Like level 5 black magic will catch them up. But then the summoner's going to start getting Bahamut and stuff in the end game, which is going to be better. And I think if you compare the end game stuff, Bahamut versus Flare, I think Bahamut wins by a little. Like, it's close, but technically Summoner does a bit more damage. So, Summoner probably gets the A tier. Black Mage probably gets the B tier. White magic is more like a C tier in that it's nice, but you don't use it very often. Time magic is weird. This one's much harder to review. Against bosses where the status effects work, it's pretty good. It's a lot like white magic, except you can't heal. It gets a little bit of offensive spells like Comet and Meteor. It has a reset. If you're losing the fight but the Time Mage is alive, you can reset to the beginning of the battle. Now, nowadays you can just die and reload, but I mean, that's something. Slowing enemies is really strong. Like, this is a very powerful ability. Stop, if it works, is great. Haste, and eventually Hastega, is an incredibly good buff. Gravity, having enemies' HP if it works. Again, it's kind of like if they're susceptible to it. Mute, Gravity, Stop, if they work, are all really good. Regen is actually pretty strong too. So it's weird. I would say basically the same tier as White Mage. It's a C tier job, but sometimes having the ability to cast Time Magic is really good. So White Magic or Time Magic is a great secondary ability, but I would never say it's a good primary. It's definitely a... This is a... After you've got your Summoner or your Black Mage, whatever you like, then you put on White or Time as a backup for alternative casts. That's why they're ranked in my mind a little bit lower. They're not going to win you the game. They're just going to... In the right fight, especially bosses, they're going to make it a lot easier. But more normally you want, like, Summoner and Black. Yeah, there's some sort of weird bot thing on YouTube that's new that my filters aren't catching. I don't know what it is. It's always something dot something. It's probably trying to give some link to porn or something, I'm assuming. Yeah, it's random person name with dumb sort of half a link. If it was a full link, it would get filtered, but yeah, I don't know. Don't click on them unless you're feeling risky. Okay. Hour 40 minutes of the episode. Almost through. Those are the regular mages. White, Black, Time, Summoner. Red I already covered. Red I said D tier as a job. So A, B, C tier, D tier, and then the Blue Mage. And the Blue Mage, he throws a wrench into everything. So, did Ferris master him? Yeah, Ferris mastered him by accident. Let's just look at the current list of spells. In the early game, Blue Magic is D tier. The job is, well, so this is a very difficult job to categorize. As a mage, and to be fair, this is also true for the Red Mage. I sold the Red Mage a little short. I neglected one thing. I only talked about his magic. Technically, they can use swords. So, they are combo classes. So you can go Great Sword, and you could dual wield it. Now, they won't do as much damage as a Knight, because less strength, but you could equip Two-Hand on a Red Mage, and they can't wear the heavy armor, but they can still wear pretty good stuff. Like, it's fine. So they'll have less defense, but they'll do almost as much damage with a two-handed sword as a Mystic Knight, let's say. So they kind of make for fighty mages that still only get up to level 3 spells. So, early game, actually maybe A tier. But only up until level 3 magic is obsolete. And it's a very niche sort of thing. It's not my kind of job. It does everything decent, but mostly only early game. And then late game, mid to late game, they just fall off. Overall D, but I'll say early on maybe closer to B or A. Blue Mages have a similar niche, and that's it. Like, Blue Mages are like a more complicated Red Mage, basically. Once again, you can use swords and shields. I forgot to mention, the Red Mage can use shields as well, if you have any. I think they wear the same equipment. I'm pretty sure Red and Blue wear the same equipment. Blue might get slightly heavier armor, actually. I guess Red Mages have a little bit more strength, it turns out. Blue Mages are a little bit more magical power. Whatever, it doesn't make much difference, I don't think. But yeah, the main thing for blue mages is what spells can they cast. Sure, they're physical. They're more physical than a white mage or something, but not enough to really be like a reliable fighter. The thing is, getting all these spells is a job. Is White Wind the best healing spell? It's high MP cost. You need your blue mage to have a lot of HP for this to work, but it could full heal the whole group, except for the blue mage. There's some gimmicks like level 5 death working on some things. Aqua Breath is fairly strong. And there's other spells we don't have yet. Big Guard, which is sort of coming up, gives everybody Protect, Shell, and Haste, and Regen, maybe. That's like a time magic. It's like all the time magic at once kind of thing. That's pretty good, but it's very expensive and it's hard to get. I have to give Blue Mage like a C. It's. I'm gonna say Blue Mage is mid-tier in that it's a pain in the ass to get all the good spells. You basically need a guide, and you also 100% also need another ability. You can't even do it on its own. If you don't pick up control for someone on Beastmaster, then it's impossible to get all the blue magic. So it's the most difficult job to make it work. And if you have all the blue magic, I still don't think it's as good as Summoner. It's got more utility, but it's a lot of work to get there, and it still doesn't have just a reliable Bahamut. So I'm going to give it the B tier, I guess. I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. This is kind of ungradable. It's got some mechanics where it can abuse things. You can half the enemy's level and then kill them with level 5 death and stuff. Like there's ways of like breaking enemies. You can drain all their MP with Magic Hammer and then they can't even cast magic, right? Like it has some really powerful exploits. But you don't know if they're going to work ahead of time unless you're following a guide, and getting them in the first place is a lot of work. So, I'll give it a B because it does have some very powerful abilities, but it's hard to get and hard to use. It's probably the most difficult job. If you took the subclass for blue magic, yeah, I mean, you could also be a summoner and equip the blue magic's ability. Or you could be a blue mage and equip the summoner or black mage ability. It would make... The thing is, blue magic doesn't have a lot of spells that do damage. Having more magic power will make Aqua Breath and Flamethrower stronger. And that might be it right now. Oh, Arrow and Era. So the damage spells scale on magic, but almost everything else is status. And I don't... Well, it's possible your magic stat affects status affliction rates. I don't know. That's... Someone would have to pull up a guide. But stuff like percentile damage, HP healing, flat damage, these kinds of things your magic stat won't help with. Level kills are based on your enemy's level, not your stats. So, most of the spells, blue mages don't really need a high magic stat, basically. Okay, so that's kind of my mage review. I'm sorry, blue mage is just hard to talk about. It's very complicated. It takes a very long time to get over. Okay, and then the last is just, I don't even really want to talk about these. Quick summary, Beastmaster, basically garbage. You need control for blue magic, and you can capture enemies and release them for random effects. It's super complicated. You have to capture an enemy like a Pokemon, and then you can release it once to do a special attack. If you know what does what, some of these are game-breakingly powerful. You can one-shot bosses. But you generally then catch one and then hold on to it and do nothing until you fight the guy that it kills. Very, very niche. But it has some utility, but I'm going to rank it at D tier because you have to be a master of the game to get any value out of it. If you're playing casually, it's a D. If you're an expert, maybe it's a C or a B because it does have some use, but you got to know... It's like Blue Mage, but an even slower burn, because you really only get one. It's not like you can save up a bunch of... If you could hold on to a whole bunch of captured enemies and then release them at the right time, it might be okay. But you can only hold one, and you have to use it. It's just, yeah, it's too much hassle. Chemist, I haven't leveled it yet. I kind of forgot about it. I don't even have the mix command yet, I don't think. So, I can't really talk about Chemist yet. It's 100% support. Basically, all this stuff, Dark Matters, Turtle Shells, Dragon Fangs, you mix them. You select 2 items from your inventory, combo them together, and something happens. I hear there are some cool things. I do not have a spreadsheet memorized for how they all work. I'm not going to even rank it. You can use the drink command to do some support, like increasing attack power, HP max, casting haste, but I mean, a time mage could just do that. Protect spell, like a white mage. Hero Cocktail would be notable in that increasing your character level is very strong, because everything scales off your character level. So your damage goes up, your magic spells go up, your defense goes up. Like you're just more powerful by spamming Hero Cocktail. It's fine. But I can't really rank it because I've never really invested in memorizing the mixes and how to use it. It's too complicated for me. I never put in the time. Next, Geomancer. Ugh. Oh, what's the stat? 53. It's already pretty good. I will give the Geomancer the best chance of doing good damage. I will max out... Yeah, I'll max out the magic stat by subbing summon on it. And then I'll try to pick all the plus magic. Yeah, they've got it all, basically. There. So this is a max magic. We'll do a couple battles with it to show it off. I haven't used this in a long time. But Chemist, unrankable, is too complicated. Maybe it's the best, maybe it's the worst. It's just... Blue Magic is hard enough, and I'm trying to use Blue Magic this run. Maybe one day I'll do a Chemist run or something. Maybe. For now, let's talk Summon, or Gaia. Geomancy. So, this time, unlike animals, it depends on the background what attacks you get. I'm pretty sure you still get more options as you level up, but as you can see, the damage scaling sucks. This is with a very high magic stat, and we're still doing worse than throwing a scroll or summoning Titan. Sure, it doesn't cost you any MP, and Brand Spear, you know, I mean, Leaf Swirl is worse than Kick. Branch Spear is pretty good. It's pretty good, I guess. Let's see if we get something in the plains. It just depends on what terrain you're on, and I haven't memorized this kind of stuff. I don't know what's good or bad. Earthquake. I mean, if that hits AoE 1500, that was pretty strong. RNG plus... Depends where you are, plus RNG on what you get. 1,000 damage to everything. That's not bad. Definitely not bad. I think if it had a little bit better AI, if it wasn't totally random, if it's like there are multiple targets, therefore use AoE ability, or if there is a single target, use single target ability, that might help it. Honestly, the damage here isn't bad. We're in the plains here. We're getting 1,000 damage pretty reliably, and the earthquake was stronger. I mean, that's clearly better than a Dragoon, right? The Dragoon only can do 600 damage, and this is doing 1,000 to the enemy group. And sometimes more. Am I giving this a chance? Am I thinking we should try to bring a Geomancer? Let's see what swamps get us. That's an insta-death, I think. Insta-death is generally not a good one. I bet you the water enemy is immune to it. Ignifatus. Oh, fire damage plus confuse. Interesting. It did work eventually. It's really hard to give up control. I'm getting the feeling that the command might be the most useful in really long dungeons or in a scenario where you run out of MP. Normally you want to control your casters, but it's free is the main advantage here. It doesn't seem very good in the swamp. I will say you gotta know the land. Yeah, the attacks in the swamp are pretty bad. You got insta-death, which is fine if it works. This one is pretty low damage, and then the poison was pretty low damage too. I like damage. Yeah, I love my damage. If you could select, 3 or 4 options, it would still suck in some terrain that has bad options, but that would probably help. Again, sub-menus are the key to victory here. RNG is the enemy, I think, is what I've learned. Plains, though, I have to say, this is like one of the ideal situations. Look at that. I have to give it at least a B rank for that. In the plains, it just wipes the enemy group for 0 MP. It is kind of like a Berserker, yeah. At least you have the option. Well, it's better than the Berserker, because I can still use... I can have a second command. I can have summons or something, if I want to do something specifically. Oh, I bet you that's why Earthquake was doing so much damage. I bet you Earthquake is the same as Windblade, but I bet you it's scaled because of Gaia Gear. I bet you Earthquake, the Geomancy skill, scales off your Gaia Gear. That's actually kind of a neat, if that works like that. That's a nice detail. Is there any other terrain we could test out while we're in testing mode? So the forest had like the ultimate single target. Oh, wait, I'm still on summon. Oops. Yes, okay, Titan is great. The thing is, it has to be better, like, if Summoner is A tier, Geomancy has to beat the summon power to knock it out. Now, 0 MP cost does give it a small advantage. And it could be a backup. Like, look at this thing. I swear, they know. Maybe they do know. Maybe it is a counterattack. You think the frog thing is actually a counter? Because they always seem to target the person I'm testing. It must... I bet you that's it. No. Because they're casting it now. I don't understand. 50 damage to 500 damage? 600, that didn't... It was doing way more last time. What's going on? There you go. Okay, so in the forest, there's a huge range. The AoE was 50 to 500. The single target was like 500 to 1500. It's an RNG ability with an RNG damage scale. Boy, that makes it real hard to rank, I gotta say. There's one more place we can test before I move on. Oh, right, there's a cave right here. We'll go to this cave. There's still, like, deserts and dungeons and castles and stuff. You could test out all the options. All mage classes are secondary to summoner. It does kind of feel like summoner is just the best. You want like a summoner white and a summoner blue, or something like that. Summoner white, summoner time might be the way to do it. I don't know. Summoner is just really, really strong. I think the thing is, you could be a summoner, and if you run out of MP, just equip the Gaia command. Like, you can have 2 spells. You can have summoning and red magic or black magic or whatever. And then once you get low on MP, just equip this command, and you can do this for free. But it's probably on the weak end. The game is pretty generous with MP recovery, not doing super long dungeons and stuff. And the fact that you don't get to control what you get. Ouch. We actually need to kill these guys right now before we die. If they do another earthquake, we dead. This is a dangerous area to do science. Pharmacology? Oh, that's right. There's a couple... I mean, this is kind of nice that we get to show off a little bit more of the chemist stuff. I forgot about that. I believe they get this passively. So if you use a potion or an ether in combat, either with this equipped, and this means if you master it, even freelancers get it. So if master your chemist and everyone gets better. But yeah, they get double heals if they use a normal potion. Which is... like, normally we get 500, right? I should test that. I forgot about that. That is a nice perk for chemists. Not enough for me to think they're good, but... okay, well... fine. Just die in one shot. Alright, so high potion on someone who needs lots of HP. Yeah, 1000 HP instead of 500. It's not bad. It's also quite nice on ethers, because ethers are very expensive. So basically you can recover double MP if you have the chemist thing. Yeah, it's complicated. Geomancers are tricky. I still don't know for sure where I land on the whole geomancy thing. Their support, it's a support job, 100%. I think you definitely want your primary to be more useful. Summoning, maybe blue magic if you want. At least black magic at high levels with backup geomancy would be fine. Stuff like that. But I think as a basic job, just using geomancy and geomancy abilities, it's bad. I think it absolutely needs something in the sub-command. Like, you need not a passive. Like, you can't afford to have a passive here. You've got to have either summoning or white or black or time or blue. Like, I think you've got to pick one of these or be one of those jobs and take Gaia as a command. That's the only way. It's not even a good equipment class. It can't equip anything good. It can't equip the rods and staves that give you bonuses, like to your healing or offensive spells. Like, you can't equip like a thunder rod or something. I think the bells are trash, so yeah. I'll give Geomancer a C. It's probably not good as a job. The Gaia command has some value, but it's very hard to rank. And then Chemist, you know, whatever. Chemist is another hard one. 2 left. We're almost done. This is a 2-hour episode. It's just super, super long. It's fine. It's fine. It's great. After this episode, I'm getting a drink. I'll get a refill my drink. This has been, like, intense. Okay, bards get sing. What else do they get? Anything? They get the ability to hide. It's terrible. We'll talk about dancer after this. Equip harps. Is that all they have? Singing, not even flirting. Singing, hiding, and harp. I mean, you might as well give them summon then at that point. We'll give him a harp. Alright. I'm not going to fight in here with stalactites. 24-hour episode. I don't even think YouTube would process it. 2 hours is already long enough that it starts getting difficult to upload and process. That's one of the reasons I like to keep them a little bit shorter. Okay, first off, how was the attack? trash. Goodbye. Okay, so let's just say you don't attack with a bard. Attacking is for chumps. Bard should never attack, probably. Next test. Singing. Now, these are all 0 MP. I've got 4 of them. I hope I haven't missed any. Unfortunately, the 4 I have are not very good. But let's test them out. I think we actually stopped them all. Okay, maybe it's awesome. Someone was talking about undead, killing bone dragons with a bard. I'll have to test that out too. Well, the hit rate has been pretty good, I'll give you that. And then you get extra damage from hitting them in the back. Is that enough? So I think it's another one of those support abilities. It gets better over time. I think there's 8 songs total, and you do get a sub menu, right? You do get a sub menu. It's situational based on what the enemies are susceptible to. I have a hard time saying it's good right now, but I can see. I know there's people. The last time I Let's Played this game a few years back on the Super Nintendo version or whatever version it was, boy did I get some angry people saying I didn't give Bard enough of a try. So I want to give it a legit try. Although 2 hours in, no one's watching this on the Future Tubers, right? Right, Future Tubers. The song that everyone hypes up is the last song you get, and you don't get it till pretty much Endgame. So our current review is, the way I'm trying to base this right now, is not the overall final battle review. This is the, do you bring a bard right now after you get a bard? I don't think you do. If you want Sing, it's maybe a little better than Geomancer because you can control it. And it has a few effects that are okay. Stopping confusing enemies, if it works, that's good. You know, it doesn't, like, the thing is, generally, you could just kill all the enemies. Right? But if you're out of MP, I guess you could confuse them and kill them with other people. Or stop them and kill them with other people. Or, if you're low on HP, you could technically slowly regenerate everyone back without casting Cure. But on its own, like, none of these are, like, a winner. Like, we'll talk about Requiem here in a minute, but on their own, those 4 songs are not quite enough, right? Like, they're all sort of helpful, but that's all the bard's got, because the attack is terrible. Can't even kill a cat. Even the knife on the Geomancer did way better. So yeah, Bard, you're only really thinking about the Sing ability, basically, and it's an okay ability, but I think it's only good in the late game. Alright, here we go. This time, now we find out if their niche expands to killing undead. I mean, that's a lot of damage. That was a lot of damage. That's so much damage that I'll give them a plus. I will say, at this phase in the game, I was going to give them a D for dumb, but they definitely destroy undead. So I'll give them a D+. They just need a little bit of extra credit, and they'll be passing. Is that fair? That's fair, right? Most of the time, bad job. But there's a lot of undead enemies, and that's more damage. Well, technically the Spellblade can do more. The Black Mage, once we get Firaga, probably does more. But, you know, it's free. It's 0 MP, you know. It's not bad. It's not bad. But that's not enough. Undead enemies are not that common, and they're not that deadly. Now, if you're fighting a boss that's undead, if you know you're going to fight a boss that's undead, maybe pick up Sing on someone, right? I'll give you that. Maybe pick up Sing if you know you're going to fight a boss that's undead. But, I mean, it is a team game. It's very unlikely that you'll actually be, you know, straight up solo combating. You're not doing a solo challenge or anything, right? Hey, Icy Blue. So, you have to think of them as part of the group. And the supportive abilities that they will eventually get, they don't have them yet. There are buffing songs. We have none. Well, we've got Regen, but it doesn't really buff. But once we have other songs, you know, then we'll give them a review. We'll give them a second chance later on. I just think that for now, something else does the job better. Except for that, when that happens. But yeah, Requiem should do nothing against normal enemies. In case you're wondering. But yeah, we got to show off all the cool animations. Am I forgetting somebody? Maybe. There's one more job. Finally, the dancer. Last but maybe least. Is there any other dancing abilities? These are all kind of support characters. Oh yeah, Flirt. We'll have to test out Flirt. Flirt and dance. Didn't they get another ability? Oh, right. Right now they've got Flirt and Dance. They'll get, there's something they get eventually. Equip Ribbons, right? Equip Ribbons is... We have to talk about Ribbons. If you're going to talk Dancer, this is a Dancer-only equipment that you'll eventually get a couple of. It is one of the best helmets in the game. Immunity to status elements used to be anyone could equip Ribbons, but now it's just Dancers. Is it enough to be a dancer? No. It might be enough to master them for later. Maybe. I think... yeah. I'm pretty sure freelancers can equip ribbons anyway. They don't need it. Yeah. Freelancers can equip ribbons without any tricks. So that's better. So that's not a reason to master dancer. Right, yeah, all the dancer gear. I have to talk about that. We don't have it yet. So at this point in the game, I can't really review the dancer equipment. Some of them you can steal from enemies, if I remember correctly. But you find most of it in treasure eventually. We do have the dancing dagger, but that doesn't really count. But yeah, there's 4 sets of items that Icy Blue posted over there. They change how dance works. Let's just throw them into combat, and we'll see what happens. I think at this phase of the game, dances are bad. Like, you'll see. But we gotta show it off, at least. Alright, I'll start with Flirt this time, just to... You know, yay, it didn't work. We couldn't flirt with the frog. It's not good. We'll try it a couple times. Frog's probably immune to flirting. I mean, you know. I don't know who would ever... Oh, no, it works there. So, charmed him. Maybe. Maybe? It's not really helping right now. Let's do some dance. Dance Revolution. So there's, there's 4 abilities, right? We've seen some of them before with the Dancing Dagger. Jitterbug's okay. Small HP Steal. Mystery Waltz. MP steel, I believe. That's one of the better ones if you're low on MP. That's one of the reasons to equip Dance on a mage that like it's kind of like Osmos sort of, but 1 in 4 op chance, you know. But it's very random because all of these are 25%. This is the one everyone loves, and it does do a lot of damage. But that's again 1 in 4 at the moment. The only one you haven't seen is the... Wait, HP Steel, MP Steel, and Sword Dance. There's the, is it Alluring Air or something? The Confuse or Muddle or Charm or whatever. Tempting Tangle. There you go. There, all 4. So that's Confuse. There, we got to see all the dances. 1 in 4 chance each. Flirt. I don't understand Flirt. I mean, he was confused. He was going to attack himself, and then we flirted with him, and then he attacked us. Sounds dumb. Let's just read that ability. I didn't really pay much attention. That seems like a completely trash ability. So, just throw this one away in the trash can, because that's garbage. Basically, what you have is Dance. Now, funnily enough, haha, the Dancing Dagger has some percent chance of using the Dance command when you attack with it. I don't know what the percentage is. Maybe 50-50? It doesn't... But anyone can equip the Dancing Dagger. It's not special. But yeah, there's some equipment that gives you more and more chance of getting Sword Dance, basically. It removes the other abilities from Dance and eventually gives you mostly Sword Dances. You don't need the Dancing Dagger to do this. It's just one of the more powerful daggers, basically. Although at the end game, there's definitely more powerful daggers. But, you know, compared to... That's 51 compared to 41. I guess it's pretty powerful. Anyway, Dancer, I mean, I don't think it's arguable. It's not debatable. At the moment, Dancer sucks. Ribbon is nice, but not good enough. And Dance is... Well, it's Dance. Alright, so Future Tubers, this episode, barely an episode. This was a science and review episode. We definitely went through all the jobs at this point in the game, and I feel like I've got a pretty good handle. I think it's very similar. I don't think much has changed from Super Nintendo to Pixel Remaster. As far as I can tell, the jobs... There's a couple, like the monk and the counter thing seems to be there's sort of a glitch going on there. But everything else seems very much the same as before, as far as I can tell. You know, the throw money is incredibly powerful. Ninja throw scales off magic stat, which is very nice. It's all the regular stuff you might use. Spellblade and all that. Seems to be good. So, I'm going to end this endurance special where I ranked everything. I'm not going to, well, re-rank, see if I remember. A rank, as far as the fighters go, A rank. C+, not really applicable support fighter. D rank for dumb. S tier. A+ tier. What'd I say? Slightly worse than the monk. The monk was C+, this is a C. Or C and a C-, whatever you like. Ranger. D+. Just better than the Dragoon. And then Mystic Knight A+. That was my review of the main jobs. Not for Endgame, but for the current phase. White Mage as a job, like C, but as an ability, much higher. Black Mage as a job, like a B. Time Mage as a job, same as White Mage, like a C for not a really good job. Summoner as a job, a bit higher. This is our A tier mage. This is as good of a mage as you can get. Maximum magic, amazing summons, and it's probably the best of the spells as far as damage goes. Blue Mage, I'm just leaving unranked. It might be like B, but it's so much work, it's very hard to say if it's good or bad at any given time. Amazingly powerful in the right scenario, garbage if you don't follow a guide. Red Mage, B tier early on, by now already down to dumpster. D tier once you get past level 3 magic, or good summons, or good blue magic, so, you know, early game only. Plus X magic later on, but that's not really a red mage as choosing red mage, still bad. You want to grind up to 999, but you don't want to stay as red mage. Beastmaster, trash, but required for blue mage. And like I said before, technically capture and release has some use, but very, very niche. Chemist, too complicated. I don't even have Mix yet because it's too much work. Geomancer, I'm still on the edge. I think as a backup free spellcasting ability, niche random value. But I'm going to say it's closer to like a C or maybe even a D tier as a job. Because you need something reliable as your primary casting, and then you want to use Gaia as like a, oh no, I want to be conservative, not wasting MP, or just equip Gaia when you run out of MP kind of thing. Or just have Ethers, because whatever, you'd rather choose your commands. Bard, at this point in the game, D tier. I'll give him C tier at this point. Maybe better at the end game, but for now, still pretty bad. Sing is like very, very niche right now. Dancer, basically trash, so D tier for now. That's your summary. All right, future tubers. That's all for that super long endurance. Next time, back to progression, actually beating stuff. See you guys next time.